Well, hello, my fellow broke aristocrats. It's here, your favorite broke aristocrat, Dr. Whimsy. And today I want to talk a little bit more about prepping and the fact that everybody is freaking out about what's going on currently in the Ukraine, and rightly so, because good people are being hurt. But when it comes to life here in the United States and some of these prepping videos and some of the panic that we're dealing with and concerns, yes, we should be concerned. We should do rational prepping. But I also think we need to be in touch with reality, which is why I want to have a conversation with you about the leading cause of death here in the United States. The leading cause of death here in the United States is not nuclear fallout. The leading cause of death is not a zombie apocalypse. It seems to me like ever since The Walking Dead and some of these other zombie shows became popular, everybody has begun to have a kind of hysteria that we're on the verge of an apocalypse. And it's very exciting and it's very entertaining. And I find myself getting really addicted to these prepper videos. But now I want to have a conversation with you as an American and also as a naturopathic doctor. The number one cause of death in America is heart disease, coronary artery disease. And a lot of the health problems we're having, coronary artery disease, diabetes, obesity, hypertension, this is a triad we see. We see Americans who are overfed, eating garbage food. The prepper videos that you're watching, where people are hysterically afraid that the zombies are coming to get them, and they're prepping and they're storing a bunch of canned meat with carcinogens in them. Do you know what the second most leading cause of death is in the United States? Cancer. And do you know what the most common form of cancer is in the United States? Colon cancer. And do you know what colon cancer is associated with? A lot of the same things we see in coronary artery disease. We see diabetes, hypertension, obesity, sedentary lifestyle, eating canned food, too much meat, too much fat, smoking cigarettes. In plainer words, if you really want to live a long, healthy life and stop worrying yourself into a state of anxiety, which is also associated with ill health, it would be great if we as Americans would start focusing on the things that are actually making us sick. And it's not a zombie apocalypse. It's not a super volcano. It's not an asteroid. It's not the zombies. The leading cause of death in the United States is coronary artery disease. If you want to do some prepping, I think that's a great idea. But why not prep healthy food that's associated with good heart health, like rice, beans, seeds, nuts, quinoa, which is low in carbs. Believe it or not, you can be mostly plant-based and still be low in simple carbohydrates. These are foods that are actually associated with good health, fresh fruits and vegetables. The other thing that I'm seeing a lot of on some of these YouTube channels of frugal living is people that are eating garbage. Again, you're eating garbage. Garbage is not saving money. Garbage is not saving money. Spam is not saving you money. Canned meat is not saving you money. It's putting you at higher risk for serious illnesses that if you're lucky enough to survive them, you're going to be out thousands and thousands of dollars just in terms of medical treatment. So here's a suggestion. It would be great if the frugal community would snap out of it, Stop worrying about spending an extra $20, $30 a week on your weekly grocery budget. Invest in whole foods. And let's see if we can't decrease some of your chronic health problems. Because when you decrease chronic health problems, you're also able to get off the medications. Type 2 diabetes, particularly in the early stages, can be reversed. So again, what are the number one causes of death here in the United States? Number one, heart disease. What are the risk factors for heart disease? Even if it's familial, even if we're looking at familial hyperlipidemia, somebody who has a family history where they tend to have high lipids, obesity, right? Obesity is a killer. Eating too much food, eating more calories than your body can process. Diabetes, hyperlipidemia, diabetes associated, again, particularly we're talking about type 2 diabetes here. When a person is eating too much carbohydrates, what happens when you eat too many simple carbohydrates? I'm not talking about complex carbohydrates. I'm not talking about fruits and vegetables. I'm talking about Coca-Cola, white bread, white sugar, white flour, right? What happens when you eat these foods? They wind up stored in the liver as something called glycogen. And then what happens when you don't have enough room to store all of that sugar as glycogen? It gets converted into something called a triglyceride, right? Elevated triglycerides is associated with increased risk for coronary artery disease. What happens when you eat so much sugar, your body can't store all the triglycerides? It gets converted into fat, and at that point you have fatty liver. So people who eat massive amounts of sugar, Coca-Cola, soda pop, white bread, etc., obesity. This is associated with diabetes. Again, diabetes associated with coronary artery disease. Again, it's a huge problem here in the United States. What do we see are the biggest problems with healthcare, coronary artery disease in Americans? Again, obesity, hypertension, and a lack of physical activity, diabetes, increased sugar intake. What happens when you have increased sugar intake and diabetes, poorly managed blood sugar? If you have an elevated hemoglobin A1C for a long period of time, you're at increased risk for Alzheimer's. So the point of my rant today is just to remind people that if we really want to live long, healthy lives, frugal people do not scrimp on their nutrition. There are things you can do that are nutrient dense and inexpensive. Yes, you might pay more than $30 a week on your groceries, but pay now or pay later. If you're buying cheap white bread, you're not saving money. You're basically investing in potentially diabetes, coronary artery disease, fatty liver down the road. The same goes with canned meats. Anything that contains some of these preservatives for aged meats. High amounts of meat are associated with colon cancer, and colon cancer is, I believe, the leading form of cancer in the United States right now, and one of the leading causes of death in the United States, metastatic colon cancer. So I'm not saying don't prep. I'm not saying don't put your family on a budget when it comes to the food you buy. But if it is not nutrient dense, it doesn't belong in your home. If it's canned meat, it doesn't belong in your home. The only canned meat I have in my home is a canned wild salmon, occasionally some tuna in spring water, if you can get a good deal on it. But other than that, and it's something I have very, very, very rarely. I'm not saying a person has to give up meat or fish. One fish meal a week is actually associated with decreased risk for coronary artery disease. You can have a little bit of animal protein, particularly if it's high in omega-3s. If you're investing in organic, grass-fed, grass-finished beef, consider it a treat when you have it. Yes, it's going to be a lot more expensive, but you're going to have it a lot less often. And again, it's not going to be associated with the same disease risk. Remember, getting sick is the most expensive thing that can happen to you, and it's the leading cause of bankruptcy in the United States. So while I appreciate the prepper videos, while I find it highly entertaining, I love The Walking Dead, I do think people have to be responsible. I think people absolutely should have a FEMA kit. They should have emergency food prepared. Let's not forget the elephant in the room. And the elephant in the room in this country is obesity, hypertension, diabetes, heart disease, and a diet that puts you at risk for cancer like colon cancer. So let's have that be the focus. It's not expensive to take care of our health. Physical activity can be free. Walking, hiking in nature, watching yoga, YouTube yoga videos, which are completely free. Pilates videos are free. Those are fun too. Zumba, putting on music and dancing while you do the dishes. That's something I like to do. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. I hope I gave some, if nobody agrees with me, that's cool, but at the very least, hopefully I gave you some entertainment. Thanks for watching, and peace out.